In this lecture, we will learn about generic methods, then wildcard, lower bound and upper bound. See, just like we were writing generic classes, we can also write generic methods. I will continue with the same example that I have used in previous lectures. So if you are unable to understand the example, please watch previous lectures once again. So let us go to that example. See here, already I have written one class called myArray, which is a generic having method like append and display for displaying all the objects. It is storing array of objects. I have used this class in previous two lectures. If you want to understand, you can watch those lectures once again. And in the previous lecture, I have written few more classes, also an interface. Okay, if possible, I may use it in this lecture also. Now let us write a generic method. I am going to write it inside this class. Class is not generic, but inside this I can write generic method. I will write one method which will take the list of elements and display them. That is list of objects and display them. I will write down a method as static because only static methods can be called from main method, and void method name is show, and it will take an array of generic type, right? Array of generic type. So T array, and that array name is list. It will display all the elements from that list. But I am getting error here, generic type. So it means before the return type, I should define this parameter. Generic type, I should define it, then I can use it here. So just like inside the classes, just above after the class name we define generic and we can use it inside the class. See, we are using it inside the class. So how to define them in methods? Just before the return type we have to define it, then we can use it as a parameter as well as inside this method. We can use this T. So it is going to take the list of elements. So instead of taking name as T, it's better to take E because it's going to take set of elements. So from the letter we can understand that it is related to elements. Using for each loop, I will display all the elements from the list. So this is system.out.println X. Oh, this should be E. I am using E here. Yes. So this is a generic method which can take any type of array, that is any type of array of objects, and it can print all those objects. So let us call this method from inside main method. So I will call show method by passing array of strings. So this is an array of strings. So first one, let it be hi, then go, then buy. This is an array of strings. So this array will be passed to this method. It will take array of string objects. So E will become what? E will become a string. So it works and it will print all those strings. Let us run it. Yes, it is printing. Can I call this method for array of integers? Let us check. New integer and array. So the values are 10, 20, 30, 40. So yes, I am passing array of integers. So first it is taking strings, so it is printing all the strings. Then it is taking integers, so it is printing all the integers. So it is working for any type of data. So it is working for any type of objects. So that's it. These are generic methods. I can even use variable arguments. So I can use ... list, right? So it works. So I don't even have to create an array. I can just pass 3 different string objects and this 4 integer values. I can pass them like this. It works for any number of arguments. So this is how we can define generic methods. So we have finished this. Now within this, let us check whether bound type works or not. I will try to define bound. This E extends number. Yes, it is working. I can define bound types also here. See, this show for strings is giving us an error because it allows only those classes which are inheriting from number class. So yes, bound type works here also. So this is how we can define bound types, and this is about generic methods. Now next we will talk about generic argument. So we first learn generic classes, then we learn generic methods. Now we will try to make arguments as generic, this as generic. For that we will be learning about wildcards. So wildcards, we can use them in argument list, parameter list. And along with this, I will explain you about lower bound as well as upper bound. So I will use the example of myArray once again, the class myArray. So I have removed the generic method. Now I will define one more method. I have removed that generic method. Now I will define another method, that is static void fun. This method will take myArray object obj and just it will call the method display upon that object. So I am defining one method which is taking an object of myArray and it is calling display method. So here I will create an object of myArray, one type string and another type integer. So here I have two objects, ma1 which is of type string, another one is of type integer. This method fun can take myArray object and call the method display. So let us call that method fun and I will pass ma1. Will it accept? Yes, it is accepting. Now the next method I will call with ma2. Is it accepting? Yes, it is accepting string also as well as integer type. If I run this, then I got the results. Yes, it is calling display method for both. Now within the argument, can I define a generic type t? I will mention. No, I cannot use it like this. If I am using this, then I should have defined it here actually. Inside the argument, I cannot use t, but I can use question mark. What does it mean? This is a wildcard and this is not bounded. It means any type. So it is same as just writing myArray. So instead of writing myArray, you can also write question mark. It means any type. It works. Yes, it is working. So this is unbounded wildcard. Unbounded wildcard. It is as good as without any generic definition, right? So using this. Now next is I can define a upper bound for this one. So I can say extends number. Now you can see that this method can accept object of myArray which are of type number only. So it will not accept a string. It will not accept a string. So this is a wildcard, right? It means any type, but that extends number. We cannot use a letter for generic. We cannot use T or E here unless you have defined it here, right? So if you want to define generic for the argument, then you have to use this wildcard. And this is a upper bound. Now similarly, instead of extend, inside this argument only, remember this, we can also use a keyword super. So it means we are allowing only those classes which are super classes of number. So none of them are super class of number. String is also not there and this integer is also not there. So you can write super keyword also. For both it is giving error. So I can use any class which is a super class for number. So I can use extends as well as I can use super. Let us try this by using our own classes. So I will go here. I will define this as a class A. Okay. And class B extends A and class C extends B. So I made it like a hierarchy. A is at the top, B is extending from A and C is extending from B. Now come back here. I will remove these things. Now here I will say extends A. I will say extends A. So it will allow any class which is extending from A. So one I will give it as B and one I will give it as C. Then I will call this fun method by passing ma1. It works, there is no error. ma2, yes, it works, there is no error. There is nothing to display, so I am not executing it. So you can see these lines that I have an myArray class object by taking B class B. So B is inheriting from A as well as C is indirectly inheriting from A. So I can use both of these. Now if I say super B, I will give super B. Now it is an error here. Who is a superclass of B? I can use B or else I can use A. I will change this to A. Yes, this is not an error. So I can use the classes that are B or A when I say super. If I say super of C, I can use C also. I can use C itself or a superclass of C, that is B, and its superclass, that is A. I can use all these classes. So it is allowing me to use B as well as A. So inside this wildcard, we can use a keyword super also. Nowhere else. It's not allowed anywhere else except for the parameters or the variable type. When you are declaring a variable type, that time you can use this wildcard and keywords like super or extends. That's it. These are the features I have explained you about methods, how to write generic methods, how to define bounds on them. Then we have seen the usage of this wildcard, that is unbounded. Then later we made it lower bound and upper bound. So upper bound means we use extends, right? And lower bound means we use super. So that's all. You try to practice these things and experience them once, right? Again, I am telling you, just you have to practice this by yourself once. So there are no exercise programs on this one because we will be using this in next section. So that's all in this video. In the next lecture, I will be showing you some do's and don'ts related to generics. That's all.